Yeah, man, my first time crying on the internet.
Oh.
Welcome back to Santagato Studios. Today is a special day. This is our Mother's Day video. I have my mom coming. She is seeing the studio for the first time. We're gonna have a nice discussion, mother to son.
Oh my God, how are you?
Hi.
This is exciting.
We figured we would get your actual reaction to the studio.
Oh my
She's
God.
seen pictures and stuff,
I've
obviously.
seen pictures, but the whole
If it
thing...
sucks, you gotta ham it up. You know what I mean? No.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? Look at this place. Joey, this is insane.
It's big, right?
It's insane. Look at it.
You wanna take a shot? No defense. Slap it at her. If you would have sunk that on the first try.
Wait, I wasn't trying. You know what? I'm worried about my shirt going up, so that's
You're
why.
fine. Let's see it.
There it is. There it is.
Bang. Very proud. Very proud.
That's where he gets his athletic ability.
I don't know about all that.
Nah.
This we just built some like white
This is all,
thing.
so you just have like a white. I felt like there was a person up there.
Yeah. Scared everyone with that a bunch of times. This is just a green screen.
Look at that. I remember when you put that first painted wall
In my
in
apartment.
your apartment.
I painted a green screen in my apartment in the living room.
That
And
color.
Then I asked my landlord if it was okay if I painted the wall green.
And I walk in one day and I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. How is he ever going to get that off? You know, like,
Yeah.
how could you?
Luckily, he was like, yeah, no, cool. I was like, all right, because it's already done. And this is the new basement yard set.
This is it. This is where the magic happens, right?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is amazing. Look at you and Frankie. Oh my God. Who did that?
Miles.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Miles got us those at Radio City. He gave them to us as like a gift.
Oh, how sweet.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know, it's a little different than where Joe used to record, doesn't it?
Actually, I didn't go. Were you talking about the other studio?
I think he's talking about the basement.
Oh, oh, yes, yes. Oh, my goodness, yes. Big, big things are happening here with this guy.
And then this is where
Blown away.
we're going to be filming, in here. And I got you some flowers.
Oh, no. That's not for me.
Okay. Don't worry. Mikey's going to edit the whole thing. It's going to look beautiful. So what'd you think of the studio? The whole thing?
Joey, I'm overwhelmed. This is insane. It's beautiful. It's just professional. I mean,
That was
who are you?
a funny thing. I wanted to do this video for Mother's Day because, you know, I feel like I used to come over to the house a lot and we would have conversations.
It's so true.
And I haven't been able to do that in a while.
Right.
So I thought it would be nice for Mother's Day to have you kind of come in and maybe have a discussion about stuff that we haven't had the chance to maybe ever talk about.
Wow, okay, yeah. You used to do that. It was so cute. And every now and then, like someone would barge in and they'd say, oh, they're having their moment. Let me like leave.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
I wanted to start this entire thing by talking about the moment where I come to you and I'm like, I'm dropping out of college, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this, but I'm just curious why you kind of went about it in the way that you did, which was, to me, supportive. I remember thinking that it was going to be much worse and thinking that you would just be screaming at me or whatever. And I remember asking you to trust me or something like that. And you just agreed. And I'm just wondering why that was your reaction.
I don't know. I always just went with my gut, and I felt like with all of you, all of your brothers and your sister, I just feel like you know what you want to do, or you know how you feel, and I'm not inside your brain, you know. So I really felt like you have to let them go a little bit, you know, and then see. And if you were making mistakes, then we pull you back in, you know. But I trusted your instincts, you know, and so far we've been pretty lucky. Do you remember when you wanted to quit football too? That was another big talk.
Yeah.
We went down the park, and I was like, oh God.
Wait, I talked to you about that?
Yes.
I don't remember that.
And you were afraid that, you know, I would say, what are you, quitting? You know, how could you be a quitter kind of thing? And we had this big talk, and I always felt like it's not like about what I want. It's about what you want and what you feel, and that's important,
Yeah.
So that's
I
where
don't
that
remember
came
that at
from.
all.
You don't? I remember it. We went down in Story Park,
And we had a
sat
conversation.
down on a little blanket or whatever, and it was a beautiful day.
We sat down on a blanket.
Yes, you don't remember?
This is great
Boy,
for the
was
video,
dramatic.
honestly. I remember when I told Dad. I remember that because he picked me up from practice, and I got in the car, and I just started bawling, and he was like, "What the hell's going on?" And I was like, "I just can't do this anymore. Like, I just don't want to play." And it wasn't even that I was like being pushed or that it was really hard or whatever, because that to me is my favorite part about football is how hard it is. But
Yeah.
I just didn't have the love for it anymore. And it was very hard because I thought I was just going to be this disappointment or something, I guess. So I like, and looking back, it's silly, but I really felt like that. I don't even remember having this conversation with you, honestly, but I went to you to like break it to. I'm like,
I guess you're
coming out to
practicing
my
on me.
parents about not playing football. Like each of them get their own thing. But and I remember talking to Dad, and I was really upset. And he also was like, "Dude, you don't have to play football.
Right.
Like
And I prefer that if it's like if you're afraid to do something or you're starting to feel an edge, don't go there. Football, you need to have your whole heart in there.
Yeah. Maybe like now I'm just connecting the dots, but maybe because of that, I kind of did the same thing when I was dropping out of college.
Right.
Obviously now in hindsight that I like lied about going to a second semester.
I had no clue.
You kept asking me,
No clue.
where is your GPA? And I'm like, it's in the mail. Like I just kept saying that.
It's online. It's in the mail. It's all
This may have
smoke
been
and mirrors.
this may have been before everything was completely online. And it was like,
Yeah,
oh, the portal, I don't know how to or
And I
whatever
was
the fuck.
busy. I was, you were.
But yeah, that was just another moment in my life where I felt like I'm going to go to my parents. I'm going to tell them that I'm doing another thing that I'm assuming is going to be a huge letdown. And I was just kind of shocked that you guys were kind of just like, okay, cool. Like, you got to figure it out. Like, you should get a job, but,
Right.
we're supportive. At what point do you feel like you would have been like, all right, go back to school or...
Well, I think, because you're a smart kid, I didn't want to see you waste that. You have the ability. So I said, let's just see how this goes. And what did you say? I think you gave me a timeline. You said, give me a year or whatever it was. I think it might have been a year. And you said, if I'm not blah, 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 or up to this amount or whatever. So I said, all right, and what do I know? I'm like, how's it going? Everything's good. Close the door, he's filming. I'm in the kitchen and he's like, okay, everybody be quiet. Remember?
But I'm also curious, during that time where I'm asking you to trust me, and it wasn't like I exploded overnight or anything like that. It was a slow burn for sure.
But it was a progressive thing.
Yeah, there was like slow progress
keep
in the
giving
beginning.
you a little rope.
Yeah,
Go hang yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Was there ever a moment where you felt like either worried or that I was doing the wrong thing or you did the wrong thing because you let me kind of do this?
Well, of course, especially since like we'd go to a family gathering and every single one of my nieces and nephews all in college doing wonderfully and they have plans and okay, what's Joey doing?
Yeah.
Well, he's got this thing that and now, everybody still can't believe the success, So, but at that time, I remember looking around and saying, well, hopefully I didn't make a mistake and, I should have made him go back to school. But I just don't feel like I could force anybody to do anything. That doesn't work, to force. So it had to come from you.
Why do you think that? Like when you say that, like that seems like something.
I don't know. Because when they're little, okay, yeah, you force issues and you're in charge. But when your children get older, then they're adults and they have to make their own decisions. And a lot of it I didn't even know about. Your world, your online crazy antics. I didn't know how it worked, and subscribers and this is all like a foreign language to me. So I felt like I had to let it go and let you do your thing and see where it went. I mean, like if you would have came to me and said, Ma, I want to be a plumber. I don't want to go to school. I want to be a bus driver. I mean, but if you're passionate about it, how do I say no?
Mm-hmm. So I know that it's probably weird. It's weird for me to try to explain my job to people. Mm-hmm. I can only imagine for you trying to do it.
And if people ask me, what does your son do exactly?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. He's doing really well.
And I mean, you just said that there were definitely times that you were worried about you know, my decision making and whatnot. But
right. And I'm sure your aunts and uncles were like talking amongst themselves saying, what's going on over there?
I'm pretty convinced that most of my aunts and uncles didn't really know that I was doing well until like 2 years ago.
You got a point there because
like I've been doing it for like 12 or more than that.
I think you were like really, really successful, I don't know, a couple of years back, and one of your uncles came up to you and said something. And
yeah, it was like, either are you still making money doing that, or it was like, here's what you should do. You got to go to this school. And I was like,
maybe you should go to film school.
Yeah, there was like stuff like that. But I'm wondering for you, in your perspective, when did it kind of hit you of like, oh, okay, he's got something here and he's on a good path and he's figured it out, I guess?
I knew that you had something when, you know, now you're able to afford to have your own place. I mean, that's success. And, you know, you had visions and plans and where you would go. You weren't just complacent. You were planning ahead. And I loved that. I said, wow, he has a plan. He's on his way.
So we do have these cards here that I made. See these?
Okay.
Custom.
Who did that?
Custom, baby. Not me.
It was Greg.
What is something you tried to instill in me that you hope I will pass on to my children one day?
Some moms might be very forceful, or, you know, they really push certain things. I'm just not that personality. So I don't know. I just kind of feel like the basics, you know, was always good enough for me, you know?
So when you have children, you're like, I just want them to be
I want them
people.
to be nice to each other, be good people, you know, and be happy, you know. I want them to be happy.
Why are you going?
Because I feel like I should be saying something more profound, but I don't have.
You know what's funny?
Answer.
It's not though, because that's the exact thing that stands out to me the most about how you specifically parented us. And I've talked about this before, but even what you were describing before, where you're saying you got to let your children be who they are.
Yeah, because they're all
kind of
different.
That's the thing that kind of stands out to me so much. You hear these stories about mothers that are very on top of their children and they need to be involved in their life well into their 20s, well into their late 20s, getting married. It's like, you know, this person is standing next to you. They want to make the decisions about your own wedding and stuff like that.
No, not me.
And yeah, you're not like that at all. And I think that that's such a cool thing, because it's not that you're a hands-off mom by any means, where you're like, all right, I'm done raising you. You're kind of done with that. It's the transition that I think is very difficult is making the transition from I'm your mother, an authority figure, into now that you're older, we have more of a friendly relationship.
Right.
So
but we can't be friends.
We can't be friends, but we have a friendly relationship.
Yes.
And that's why I feel like I can, you know, come to the house, we'll have coffee, I'll talk about my life and, you know, whatever.
Right. And it's good to catch me up because, you know, right now you're so busy. Things are always happening.
Yeah.
But we haven't had that in a while.
I know. It's been a while.
It's been a little while
since we've done that. But it was like my little therapy sessions.
Yeah, you know? Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and it also felt like it would go both ways. Like stuff that would be going on in your life. And I honestly have a huge interest in your life and what's going on.
You're so sweet. You always say to me, where would you want to go? If you could go anywhere in the world, where would you want to go?
I always ask those questions, yeah. What's your dream job?
And I don't have. Am I that boring? Am I that, like, you know, mundane? Like, I'm good. I'm good.
I feel like we have such a good relationship. I don't feel weird talking to you about anything. You know what I mean? I'll bring anything up. Or if I have a big decision that I have to make, like, I want to know what you think about it. I want to know what, like, you know, Shannon thinks about it, or who, you know, like I want to know.
I know you guys are all like that. I guess that's the dynamic, and it's great, you know, because like you said, you know, Shannon cares what you think, Keith cares what, you know, everybody cares, you know, like about each other, and am I doing the right thing, and keep me in line, you know, like.
I mean, you did that.
I don't know how I did that.
You did it though.
I don't know. I just loved like having you all around me, and you know, like people used to say, "Oh, I can't wait for them to go back to school," you know, in the summer, and I was like, I love that they're home. You know, with no schedule, do whatever you want. You know, I don't know. I guess we just had a good group.
Yeah.
Happy group.
Definitely.
Yeah. What was a moment where you felt like you needed me most? Oh, I'm gonna cry.
If I needed you most, then I went and got you. So
that's true.
Yeah, it's
Probably.
Not like, I was like, oh no.
You were my mushiest baby.
I'm the mushiest baby?
Yes, you were the mushiest one.
I feel like I have this really deep connection with you, even though recently I haven't been to the house that often because I'm like traveling and working so much. But it still feels like I'm connected to, like I can't live if I didn't have you in my life. Like knowing that I couldn't just reach out to you or talk to you about something. I think, and that's another reason why I wanted to kind of do this video. And I also, after this video, still want to like make an effort to like come there more. As far as like when I needed you the most, like it just feels like all the time. Like it just feels like all the time.
I'm gonna cry.
It really does feel like that though.
I'm
like
so lucky. I am so lucky.
You?
Really.
Me.
We're just lucky.
We're just lucky.
We're lucky.
What's the hardest part about being a mother?
Well, it's strenuous. So, you know, it can be taxing and emotional and all of that, but it's the good so outweighs any hard part.
Like if someone was becoming a new mother, what would you tell them is like the hardest part?
Well, that's going back to babyhood and everything, you
Sure.
know. But the hardest part is the physical part. Not sleeping and all that. It's tough. It's not easy. But there could be just one really unbelievable smile from a baby that could take that away. Don't make me
You
cry.
fucking me up now. Don't do it. Don't do
You know,
it.
you're having the worst day, like even like with me watching the kids sometimes. I mean, I'm old now, so it's hard. And, you know, my knee's hurting and then jumping on, I'm like, watch grandma, hey, watch. And then they'll do something so cute and I just melt.
Yeah.
Was that? All right, don't do this.
Like I can only imagine. I'm going to be a blubbering
Oh,
idiot.
you
when I have-
forget
Yeah,
it.
Forget
You-
about it.
I know.
Be crying every day of my life.
You will be like, I got to cut this tour down. I got to go home.
I'm quitting at that
I'm quitting.
point. Yeah.
No, yeah. Aw, do you think you're a good son? Of course you do. Well, do you think? I think you are, but do you think you're a good son?
I know that you think I'm a good son.
Uh-oh.
I know that. No. I'm not saying that.
There was
as
a
like,
but.
No, I'm not saying it like that. Like, of course you're going to say that. When I'm thinking about this question now, I'm thinking about like in the grand scheme of things. But I think I'm a good son. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it takes a lot to be a good son. Like, just not be an asshole to your parents. And, you know, there was probably times in my life where I felt like I wasn't being a good son, but I probably wasn't aware that I was not being a good son. Lately, it feels like because I haven't had the time to come to the house and kind of have those moments, I still want to keep that connection. You know, I really think that's important, especially as I get busier and, you know, as my life kind of progresses to the next stages. I still want to make sure that we're staying close, but also I'm staying close with my family as well.
Right.
Like even Shannon recently said something to me recently where she said she like missed me or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like I haven't had a chance to come there and just like hang out and talk.
yeah.
Like anytime I come there,
It's distracting.
it's like the kids are doing whatever, but also it's for like a family party, and so there's other people there or something like that. So I've just been feeling like I think overall as a person, like yes, I'm a good son, but there are things that I could be doing better or just making more time for. Because like I said before, if I had to trade my job for, you know, my family or whatever, like I know that you can't have both those things maybe at once, but I definitely think I have to do a better job of balancing those things because I don't want that to continue in the future and just get worse, where I'm spending even less time there.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
so
sometimes the more that happens, the more you're right.
it'll just
it can
become
cause
a
a
habit.
little bit of a.
Yeah, I never want to be the dude who's like, oh, you know, I'm just real busy, or like, you know what I mean? Like,
We'd be like, get the hell out.
yeah, like I just don't, you know, especially because like I don't have to be super busy. Like, of course, there are years of my life where I feel like I'm gonna work more than, you know, others, but it'll always kind of come back, and you know, I just have to make sure that that's something I'm paying attention to. So that's a drawback, but yeah.
That's nice.
All right, and our final question: do you think you're a good mother?
Oh boy, I think so. I think I should be pretty proud of my children. So I guess, you know, a badge of honor. You know, looking at everybody's, they get along. I mean, really, such a blessing. I mean, there's so many things that could go wrong with people in their lives, and you know, drugs and addiction, and you know, all the things. And thankfully, nothing like that, knock on wood, has ever really happened. So that's wonderful. I mean, you know, you guys grew up in Queens. Things could happen.
Yeah.
But you always had good friends, and that's another great thing is like even now you're surrounded with such great people that help you continue this process of Santagato Studios. It's like so weird for me to even like say it out loud, you know, like, and I don't brag. Like when you would go into Radio City, to me that was like a big thing, a really big thing. I mean, not that everything else wasn't, but Radio City Music Hall, like I just felt like it was so insane, and I didn't like put it out there. Like I'm not on Instagram or anything like that. I look at it, but I don't post. So I felt like any other mother would be out there going, my son's gonna be at Radio City, you know, like all excited. And I was so proud, but I'm not that person. Like I don't like offer the information and, you know, like, guess what? My son, you know. So I was so thrilled that, I'm gonna cry. Some of my really good friends, they just reached right out to me. Like I haven't seen them in a long time, but they were so proud. Like Mary Ellen and Mary and Elaine and, you know, all the, you know, the people that, I mean, they were so proud. I'm like, it means even more. And your teacher, Miss Dormis,
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. It was so sweet, you know, so that's wonderful that everybody is sharing in that joy that I was sharing, you know. I don't want to cry. I hate this. But that was nice. That was really, really nice that everybody was proud and happy. I mean, how could they not be? They were shocked to know.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of those moments that I feel like will hit me really hard like 10 years from now.
Yeah.
Even
forget
regardless
it.
of like if there's progression or whatever, that feels like the moment where it all kind of came together and became like super real.
Yeah.
And then,
yeah.
you know, from there, you hope to continue a career. But from all those times where, you know, I mean, you have old home videos of me like trying to grab the camera or whatever. Like, so there was like an interest there.
Always wanting to, like if I tried to film, this guy was right there saying, I want to take it, what do you say? I want to take a try. I want to take a try. And the camera was this big, so
Camera's
it was
bigger
like
than
not
me.
easy.
Yeah, the camera's bigger than me. It's interesting for me too because like I said, I wasn't like a young kid being like, I want to perform at Radio City. That never even crossed my
No,
mind.
right. And I would never dream that for a child.
I never thought of that. Like, even though I was like 24 years old, I barely knew what Radio City was, you know? But then doing it and then looking back and realizing that a lot of this stuff now is kind of connected is interesting, you know? And back to what I was saying before about, you know, your parenting style or you and Dad is like allowing that to even happen, you know? Like, I think that's a very unique thing to, there's an interest there. You're not forcing it on us. You're not like making us do, you know, go to extra classes or, you know, put us in, you know, whatever, these specialized schools or whatever for these things. It's just, you're just letting us find our way. And it's interesting that an interest at that young of an age comes back and then becomes what you end up doing for a living. So,
It's amazing. It's so amazing.
And I mean, obviously, if you're asking me, like, I think you're the greatest mother.
Thank you.
Here I go.
I'm so lucky. I'm so blessed. Everybody should have that. You'll have it one day.
All right, you trying to kill me?
Oh, God. Thank God for this little...
No, but I say that a lot, that I think you're the greatest mother. And even in situations where, because I like to put myself in situations where people can confide in me and I can try to give them advice or talk to them about their life and stuff. And a lot of the times, the advice that I'm giving to people are things that either you have said to me or that you have, or that you have just, that I've just learned through you being a mother, honestly. You know, I wanted to have this conversation with you today for like Mother's Day. And I just wanted to tell you that you're the greatest mother in the world. And I appreciate you so much. And everything that you've done over the years, you know, whether it's on purpose or just something that you innately do, I'm paying attention to all of it. And I really appreciate it.
Oh,
and I love you.
I love you too so much. Oh my God. Incredible.
Yeah, man, my first time crying on the internet.
Oh. Each child is different and there's no manual, so, you know, you just wing it.
Well, you wung it pretty good, Liz.
I did.